The 1960s gave us Motown legends and Stax superstars, but behind the spotlight stood countless R&B bands who burned just as bright. These are 15 underrated 60s R&B bands who deserved so much more. Number 15, the Astors, the Memphis harmony lost in the shuffle. They were part of the legendary Stax family, recording soulful tracks under the shadow of Booker T and Otis. In 1965, the Astors dropped a Candy, a playful, infectious tune that blended doo-wop sweetness with southern grit. Signed to the Stax subsidiary label, they never quite broke through nationally, often overshadowed by bigger label mates. But Candy turned heads regionally.
With a sweet little girl like you.
And for those who heard it, it stuck. Their harmonies were as tight as the impressions, their grooves rich in that Memphis backbeat. Behind the scenes, Isaac Hayes and David Porter helped shape their sound detail, often lost to time. You can almost picture a sock, hop, or a jukebox-lit diner, the smooth falsetto playing just loud enough to make your heart race. It's the kind of soul that doesn't shout, it lingers. While the Astors never charted big, their sound helped lay the foundation for later Southern soul acts. If the Astors were the sugar in your coffee, this next band was the storm rolling in. Number 14, the Artistics, Chicago's Velvet Secret. Hailing from the Windy City, the Artistics had all the right pieces, polished harmonies, dramatic arrangements, and a voice in Marvin Smith that could melt even the coldest crowd. They were signed to Brunswick Records, the same label that carried Jackie Wilson to fame. But while Wilson soared, the Artistics were left in the waiting room. Their 1966 single, I'm Gonna Miss You, cracked the Billboard Hot 100, but it deserved more. Its haunting orchestration and layered vocals painted a portrait of heartbreak with cinematic sweep.
This loneliness I just can't take.
Yet, they lacked major promotional backing, and timing is everything. Close your eyes, and you're walking down a rainy street in Chicago, collar turned up, this song playing in a storefront radio. It's that visceral. They captured heartache without sounding broken, smooth without losing grit. Today, soul collectors treat their albums like treasure. But back then, the Artistics were just a whisper under Motown's roar. And if Chicago brought you introspection, Detroit's next act brought pure fire. Number 13, the Fantastic Four, Motown energy without the Motown push.
My love for you grow.
They had the moves, the look, the sound, but not the label. The Fantastic Four were Detroit through and through, recording under Rick Tick Records, Motown's fiercest local rival.
This is what keeps us together and makes
their breakout hit, The Whole World Is a Stage, 1967, could have easily passed as a Temptations B-side, but that's the tragedy. It didn't get the same stage. With lead singer Sweet James Epps at the helm, their harmonies were electrifying, rawer than Motown's polish, but just as magnetic.
Choose another. It will shatter.
Eventually, Motown absorbed Rick Tick, but by then, the Fantastic Four were already losing momentum in the wave of newer acts. The song feels like summer asphalt and transistor radios. Teens dancing on porches in sweltering heat and be a survival, not just style.
I'm very thankful I won't have to look no more, 'cause
while their career faded fast, that one track, eternal. It still plays like an anthem for the almost famous. But hold tight, your next band had a groove so deep, it could sink your heart. Number 12, the Esquires, Milwaukee's harmony kings who never found their throne. Get On Up hit the airwaves in 1907, it felt like lightning in a bottle. Tight harmonies, punchy horns, and a rhythm that made even the stiffest feet shuffle. The Esquires had arrived.
When I'm loving my city, everything is alright.
Hailing from Milwaukee, a city not often mentioned in the R&B pantheon, they brought a northern soul flavor with Midwestern grit. But the music industry can be cruel. Signed to Bunky Records, distributed by Scepter, they didn't have the muscle behind them to maintain momentum. Despite the breakout single climbing to number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100, follow-ups didn't catch fire. There's something in Get On Up that screams Saturday night in the city. Neon signs blinking, dancers in motion, sweat on brows.
Everything is alright.
You can feel the optimism in every note, as if this was the song that could finally lift them out of the shadows. They deserved a string of hits. Instead, they got one anthem, and legacy fans still groove too. And if the Esquires got you moving, this next band knew how to break your heart. Number 11, The Mad Lads, Southern soul with a tear in its eye. Out of Memphis, the Mad Lads stood apart from the gritty growl of their Stax label mates. They weren't shouting, they were serenading. Their signature song, Don't Have to Shop Around, 1965, blended sweet falsetto leads with smooth backing vocals. Echoing doo-wop traditions in an era turning toward funk. Lead singer John Gary Williams gave the group its soul-stirring ache. And while the Lads had a loyal fan base across the South, they never saw national fame, partly due to internal turnover and the volatile scene at Stax during the late 60s. Picture a slow dance at a high school gym, dim lights, crepe paper streamers overhead. The Mad Lads were made for that moment. Their music whispered promises. Even if the world shouted past them, they were romantics in a world that wanted revolution. Speaking of revolution, our next group helped shape one sound without ever getting the credit. Number 10, the Olympics, the West Coast jokers who made soul fun. Long before the West Coast became a funk stronghold, the Olympics were making R&B that moved people in more ways than one. Best known for the dance-crazy Western movies, 1958 and later, Good Lovin'. Yes, the one the Rascals made famous. The Olympics brought humor, rhythm, and raw energy to their records. But fate wasn't kind. The Watts riots of 1965 destroyed their studio, master tapes, and momentum. Add to that the fact that other artists kept reaping hits off their originals, and you get a group that paved the road but never got to drive it. Still, there's joy in their music. It's roller rinks, soda fountains, and summer mischief. They were a bridge between doo-wop and early funk, lacing every track with swagger and swing. They might have been the life of the party, but history left them behind at the door. And if the Olympics brought the bounce, the next band brought the burn. Number 9, the Unifics DC's smoothest heartbreakers. Emerging from Washington, D.C. in the late 60s, the Unifics were all class-matching suits, choreographed steps, and harmonies that wrapped around you like a velvet robe. Fronted by Al Johnson, a baritone with emotional depth and technical precision. They hit with Court of Love in 1968, a mini-drama of heartbreak, with strings and gospel-tinged backing vocals. Though they charted decently on the R&B side, crossing into mainstream territory remained elusive. Label support from Cap Records wasn't enough to push them through the crowded soul scene dominated by Motown and Atlantic giants. You can hear the drama in every note. The echo of courtroom gavel hits, the aching verdict of love gone wrong, it's cinematic.
Thinking that her love is mine, all mine.
The kind of song you'd hear on a transistor radio while staring at the ceiling, heartbroken and 17. They faded quickly by 1970, but left behind a gem that soul heads still revere. From courtrooms to boardwalks, the next group kept it breezy, but never basic. Number 8. The Tymes, Philly's falsetto architects. Technically formed in the late 50s, the Tymes found their stride in the early 60s with So Much in Love, a doo-wop classic, 1963. But beyond that first brush with fame, they struggled to break the glass ceiling despite years of gorgeous harmonies and richly arranged tracks. Based in Philadelphia, they were caught between Aristu Smooth for the grittier R&B radio stations, too rooted in doo-wop for the evolving Motown scene. But songs like Wonderful, Wonderful, and Somewhere showcased their gift for lush vocal tapestries and orchestral pop soul arrangements. Their music feels like summer wind on your face, innocent, nostalgic, almost cinematic in its sweetness. You imagine beachside pavilions, late-night walks, the scent of sea air and hairspray. While the spotlight shifted to newer Philly soul acts, the Tymes were the quiet foundation, unsung but unforgettable. And if the Tymes gave you butterflies, this next band delivered pure emotional thunder. Number 7. The Soul Children, Stax's powerhouse secret weapon.
Chain and bound. Somebody to the rest.
Created by none other than Isaac Hayes and David Porter in 1968, the Soul Children were designed to pick up the torch after Sam and Dave left Stax. And they did, burning with intensity.
Whenever and however.
With both male and female vocal leads, they brought drama, gospel fire, and raw Southern soul. Their debut hit, The Sweeter He Is, built slow and smoldering. And by the time they hit the early 70s,
Why, man, you don't call me no more.
Tracks like Hearsay and I'll Be the Other Woman proved they could go toe-to-toe with the greats. But somehow, they remained in the wings. It's church on a Saturday night, whiskey in hand, tears barely held back.
Yes, I am. When I come home from work, I can.
Their 4-part harmonies told stories of betrayal, yearning, and survival. They were ahead of their time and perhaps too real for radio. But their influence on Southern soul is undeniable. Their legacy felt in the voices of every emotionally raw R&B act that followed. If you think that hit hard, just wait until we crack the top 5. Number 6. The Emotions' early years. Before the disco lights, there was gospel soul. Before they rose to fame in the late 70s with Best of My Love, the Emotions were already making waves in the 60s Chicago R&B scene. Signed to the legendary Stax imprint, Volt Records in the late 60s. Their early material, especially songs like So I Can Love You, 1969, showcased raw talent wrapped in gospel roots and girl group sophistication. Produced by Isaac Hayes and David Porter, their debut single cracked the R&B top 10, but mainstream radio didn't give them the attention they deserved. Why? The industry didn't quite know what to do with a group that could switch from angelic harmonies to full-blown soul testifying within a single verse. Their sound was Sunday morning and Saturday night, all in one. Picture them singing in a South Side church, then bringing that same fire into a smoky studio session hours later. It was pure, powerful, and under-celebrated. They'd eventually get their due, but their 60s work remains a hidden jewel. And speaking of hidden jewels, our next band had enough polish to blind the sun. Number 5, The Vibrations, dance floor dynamos that history forgot.
I was in trouble, you're putting me down. Down, down, you're putting me down.
The Vibrations had the moves, the suits, and most importantly, the sound. Formed in Los Angeles, they were best known for The Watusi, 1961, a track that practically invented a dance craze.
I needed you, but you couldn't be found. Down, down, you're putting me down.
But dig deeper, and you'll find a catalog that criminally overlooked songs like Cause You're Mine and Lovin' Them Their Hills, later covered by the Pointer Sisters, revealed depth far beyond novelty. They bounced around labels Checker, OK, Epic, never quite finding a stable home. That inconsistency cost them the kind of momentum their peers rode to fame. But their energy, unmatched.
When you're putting me down, things really got tough.
Imagine a packed dance hall in Watts, sweat dripping from the ceiling, and the Vibrations setting it off with choreography so tight it felt telepathic. They weren't just performers. They were performers. Yet, somehow, they remained background players in their own story. And if the Vibrations were the dance, the next band was the pulse. Number 4, The Persuaders, New York soul, with a streetwise ache.
And doing it out of sight. Can I persuade you to give it up for the mighty Persuaders?
Technically crossing into the early 70s, the Persuaders' roots run deep into the late 60s and 60s R&B underground. Their breakout hit, Thin Line Between Love and Hate, 1971, is still considered one of the most emotionally gut-punching songs in soul history. But even before that hit, they'd been crafting their signature sound in Harlem bars and Brooklyn clubs tight, urgent, and unmistakably real. They weren't pretty souls. They were bruised souls. Their vocals sounded like a warning and a confession all in one. And while the production value wasn't always top shelf, the emotional honesty was richer than gold.
She opened up the door and let me in.
You can practically smell the city in their song-shot pavement, corner bodegas, the distant echo of train tracks. These were love songs with scars. Despite their influence on everyone from the Pretenders to Jaheim, the Persuaders never became household names. But for those who know, they never left. If these underrated R&B gems are bringing back memories or revealing new favorites, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up.
Don't think you can keep treating your woman bad.
It helps us keep the soul alive and spread the word about these forgotten greats. And stick around, we've still got 3 more legends and one band at number 1 that'll leave you wondering how they never became stars. Number 3, the Cooperettes, Philly sisters with untamed fire. This all-female group out of Philadelphia delivered raw R&B energy with unmatched sass and swing. Their best-known track, Xing Ai Ling, 1967, was a northern soul stomper that should have made them household names. 4 sisters, Janet, Tina, Angie, and Debbie, brought a fierce, unfiltered female presence to a male-dominated scene. Signed to Brunswick's tiny sub-label, the Cooperettes never got a full album release. They opened for heavyweights like Otis Redding and Jackie Wilson, yet Industry politics and a lack of marketing muscle stalled their rise. But don't mistake obscurity for lack of power. Their songs were packed with gutsy vocals, dance floor energy, and bold femininity, a forerunner of what groups like LaBelle and the Pointer Sisters would later bring mainstream. Imagine a Friday night block party in North Philly. Kids breakdancing on cardboard, elders grilling ribs, and the Cooperettes blasting from someone's boombox. That's their spirit alive, electric, and unapologetic. And if they brought the heat, the next group brought the heartbreak. Number 2, the Delfonics, early years, the blueprint for Quiet Storm. Before they were known for lush symphonic ballads in the 70s, the Delfonics were laying groundwork in the late 60s with William Hart's falsetto leading the way. Their breakout hit, Lala Means I Love You, 1968, put them on the map. But even before that, their early tracks were already redefining romantic soul. Working with producer Tom Bell, they created a sound drenched in orchestral sweetness, tinged with sadness. But because they came from Philly, not Detroit or Memphis, they often got boxed out of bigger tours, major press, or mainstream crossover appeal. Still, their influence is everywhere, from the stylistics to Prince to modern hip-hop samples. Their melodies haunt movies. Their lyrics linger in late-night slow jams. It's candlelight in a basement apartment, a letter never mailed, a voice quivering on the edge of goodbye. But trust me, nothing will prepare you for what's coming at number 1. Number 1, the Checkmates Lighted, the integrated band that defied every mold.
This palace to catch the greatest group that you've ever heard, the Checkmates. Let's hear it.
Fronted by the powerhouse voice of Sonny Charles and backed by an integrated lineup, a rarity in the turbulent 1960s, the Checkmates weren't just good. They were phenomenal. Their 1969 single Black Pearl, produced by none other than Phil Spector, is an epic ode to black womanhood, drenched in emotion and orchestrated like a soul symphony.
Talk about good loving, I got a truckload. And when you get it,
And yet, they never caught fire on a national level, despite being one of the few interracial R&B bands of the decade. And despite Sonny Charles's vocals drawing comparisons to Sam Cooke himself, they were often sidelined too soulful for rock, too experimental for traditional R&B radio. Black Pearl feels like an anthem that never got its crowd. Its towering arrangement and gospel-tinged urgency demand attention. Picture it. A smoky Vegas lounge, spotlight on Sonny Charles, every note trembling with pride and pain. They were groundbreaking, but history looked away. Today, we bring them back into the light right where they always belonged. From Chicago, heartbreakers, to Philly poets, these 15 bands poured their souls into every note, and though the fame never fully followed, the feeling sure did. Thanks for joining us on this rhythm revival. Subscribe to keep the groove alive and never miss our next stroll. Up next, 15 most tragic stories of 1990s forgotten R&B stars. Click that end screen and let's keep the rhythm rolling.